Okay. Okay, I can't hear it myself anymore. I think I can hear myself through the stream on a longer delay.
All right, let's see if that works. Done.
Yeah, I can hit it if you
Nope.
let's mute you on the stream.
Oh, Jim said yeah, audio. How
Okay, I
can he
think we're
hear
good to
audio?
go.
I can't hear anything. Oh, now I can. I can.
Let me get my audios muted in the right place so I can hear you in real time and not on a 3-second delay.
So, should we start? Should we start again?
Yeah, let me just bump up the levels and I guess we can re-intro.
Yeah.
Right, I guess hello and welcome for a second time now that hopefully you can actually hear us talking. Sorry for the technical difficulties. James is out this evening seeing family friends. So you're left with me and Wale, but James normally runs the tech side of this. So we're kind of fondling? I don't even know, not fondling. The word will come back to me at some point. It's eluding me at the moment.
Explore. We explore.
Learning new things at a very fast rate, or maybe not quite fast enough, but yeah. So I'm back from holiday, and you just got me and Wale this evening, and we'll probably just chat about some of the news that's come up over the past few days. As we don't have a demo lined up, as we've both been a little bit everywhere. So, hello.
Yeah. Hello again. All right. So, how do we want to kick off?
I know. Is there anything that has particularly piqued your interest lately? Like I know.
Yeah, actually, there has been. So, I saw recently. I mean, I don't think it's new anymore, but it says. Let me just find it. It's HashiCorp acquires Blue Brackets to add secret scanning.
That sounds fun. Do you know what they're aiming to achieve with it? The secret scanning?
No, I just found the article interesting, but I thought we would go for it now.
Yeah. Do you want to share us and see how that goes, or do you want to just read it and?
I think we should share the screen. But how you doing this now? Is it still through? It's not
It's
through
still
this.
through the video, so if you can just share to there, it should pop up automatically on stream. I might have to fiddle with a couple of bits, but should be good.
Okay, let's try. Spare me. Oh wow, we need our tech guy.
It's fine. We can just give him the editing job and dealing with the mess later.
Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah, it looks like it's all come through neatly as well.
Perfect. All right. So this says HashiCorp acquires Blue Bracket to add secret scanning. Blue Bracket secret scanning functionality will complement HashiCorp Vault secrets management to help prevent accidental leak and fight secret sprawl. Interesting. So, who are Blue Brackets? That's another question. Do you know that?
No, but flicking through the first paragraph, it looks like this is a tool to scan stuff like GitHub repos and Git repos more generally.
So
Other
it's not
source
like
control things. Sorry?
so it's not like Aqua.
It
That's
is similar to Aqua stuff. So for those that don't know, Aqua is more Kubernetes focused cybersecurity tool, or that will find secrets lying around for you, but that would be more secrets embedded in containers. They are branching out into new sort of pipelines and CI/CD stuff as well, but their main focus was sort of Kubernetes and the contract from there. My guess what this is, because HashiCorp and with their Vault offerings, the main kind of goal of it is to get centralized secrets, but it's all very well to have centralized, say you have centralized secrets if you have no visibility over if you have secrets lying around. So by the look of things, this will allow you to scan your kind of estate to see if you have any secrets kind of hiding in places that they don't do, that they shouldn't be. The main places that you really want would be, I guess, Git's first port of call, your Git repositories, and then internal websites, so Confluence.
Yeah, because they're saying that, that just a short paragraph of this is Blue Bucket protects software supply chains by preventing, finding, and fixing risks, source code, developer environments, and pipelines so companies can ship secure code without sacrificing speed or innovation. It would be nice to see a diagram of how that works.
It's an interesting problem, secret scanning, though, because how do you know what is a secret?
That's and and the fact that they're saying that they're scanning without you losing speed, that is interesting to me as well.
Because a lot of secrets aren't necessarily different from kind of non-secrets in terms of their format. So a lot of them will just be a string or a bit of numbers. Like you can look, certain things have patterns in. There's like some clever maths and credit card numbers that allow you to check if it's a valid credit card number.
Yeah.
I don't know what the maths is, but I know if you just there is a way that you can just quickly check by fiddling with some of the numbers is how to, if the number you've got is valid. So they might look for stuff like that, but in common like strings for like database entries.
Wait, you know this risk stuff? I thought GitHub does similar stuff already. Because
Yeah.
just looking at their page now, prevent secrets. I think that one, I'm not sure if GitHub does that well, but does it detect risk and credentials misconfiguration, prioritize Yeah, I feel like GitHub does some of this already. So I guess name for the starter, Black Hat. Okay.
But it'd be like a lot of stuff with GitHub and stuff like that is there will be quite a lot of overlap with these things. So a lot of people are trying to move into this space of sort of DevSecOps area where you're bringing security further down the pipeline. So it's scanning and stuff like that. But I guess the nice thing about this, if you've signed into like the HashiCorp ecosystem and you have Vault and stuff already up and running, you don't have to necessarily worry. Like you get it automatically, it's there. And if you're not using, say, a GitHub repo, or you're using one that is from a later, like an older version, that may not necessarily have the tools that you want for this kind of thing. So it's nice just to have it packaged. The interesting thing will be is to see if they bring it into the open source offerings, or if it is just going to be part of like the enterprise and cloud settings.
This is making, obviously, based on the pricing, they might still leave it and then just add it as part of Vault stuff.
It's interesting because their dependency stuff there is powered by Sync, which is another company's tooling and stuff. So I guess the open source stuff, or the stuff that's free, might come in beforehand.
Yeah, free version kind of like is good as well. You can get good hands-on experience just by just using the free version, and there's no time limit on it. So yeah, even $12 is not bad actually. Wait, what's this price per developer?
developer.
Yeah, my bad.
If you're not a developer and a manager, do you think they still charge you to use it?
I mean, you need access, right? You the user.
Yeah, it will be a user, not, I would imagine.
Uh, Anyways, oh well, that's good to know actually. So, right, we'll find out sooner or later what they do, what they plan to do with it, or maybe it says on this website, we've just not read it yet.
I feel like it'd be more likely in the initial article, because if you acquire something, you initially they'll just keep the current product running if it's a successful business. They wouldn't want to market that, oh, this is just going to be folded into Vault, so don't bother coming through. So they'll still keep customers coming in there.
Hmm. Okay. Anyways, yeah, that was one exciting news that we wanted to talk about. Now at least we know. There are some other news as well. Barnaby passed is Vault Pro. Yeah. Congratulations.
We've got two-month wait for the return. Then I got it back, and in theory, I should now be receiving a sticker in the post at some point.
You need to make sure you share it with us. We need to see.
What, do you want like a third of it?
I just wanted to hear it. I wonder what will happen with mine because they gave me since by the way I failed mine. Um, um, and they gave me a retake code. So if I
Yeah.
passed it, will I still be entitled to the stickers? Because
That's an interesting one. I don't know if they'll send them to you because it won't be part of like the beta process. I need to check with them if they have like a credly badge for it, because in the stuff that I've been sent so far, it just seems to be I'm going to get a physical sticker is going to be the only proof, even some emails. But I imagine if you do the retake, you'll probably get the sort of credly badge and the sort of way when it's, because it's part of the formal process at that point. But the sticker, you'll have to go to a Hashi event to pick up, go to the learning booth, and they'll give you your stickers.
Yeah, let's see.
Do you not fancy another flight out to the US just to pick up a sticker?
I wouldn't mind, but as you know, yeah, flights are limited at this point for our companies. Unless I'm willing to pay by myself, then yeah, I'm willing to sponsor myself. Or you want to sponsor my trip? I don't mind. So,
I don't have any seed funding for you. I'm sorry.
We'll wait for James. Let's see what James got to say. Anyways, another news that came out recently. See, on the 5th of July is deploy concept cluster pairing locally with Minikube. I think this is more instruction, but like you use Vault, you work with Vault, and you guys use console, right?
Yes, we use it as a backend. There's talk about using it more. I think console's one of those things which is looked over a lot, but could be quite useful. So it's quite a nice way of, it kind of takes the hassle out of networking for a lot of teams. You obviously have to know like a reasonable bit about networking to set it up, because you'll have to have everything connected. But once it's set up, you can have all the service discovery within it, and then people just call console and ask for services and are connected, so they don't need to know all the DNS and all of that. It's kind of done through console. Pairing it locally with Minikube. So I guess this is more for deving. Have you done anything with Minikube?
Not much, no. I don't think I even got Minikube to work properly on my machine to begin with.
Were you trying to M1 Minikube or Apple Silicon Minikube?
No. I think when we were trying the Vault to get Vault and Kubernetes, I tried using Minikube. For some reason, something didn't work. I can't remember. And that was the time period we couldn't access the link externally. So I moved to K3.
K3S. Yeah, I've used that before. That works quite well. that was deployed on AWS when I did it. It's like a neat way just to pull them down and deploy it. The other one that I think looks quite nice for deployment is Rancher. Seems like quite a nice like orchestration platform.
Yeah.
Although, despite its flaws, I think my recommendation, if you're just doing it in your personal time, I think Docker Desktop, the Kubernetes that come with that are just the easiest to set up, to test, and play with locally, because you just hit one button pretty much that says install Kubernetes and you're good to go.
Yeah. So those instructions are good. I think maybe we should try this out at one of our sessions. I'm just going through it now. And if we were to follow this, we should be able to get it out.
So this can be next demo, setting up a little Kubernetes cluster, a mini kube, and deploying Consul to it.
Yeah, that would be cool. Don't we have to finish CDK? Oh, have we finished it already?
The CDK?
Because we've done
Where we left that last.
done 2 sessions on that already.
We had it working kind of neatly with Vault. I think maybe at some point it might be nice to come back to it with a fully like fledged working use case for it, but there's nothing built yet. I guess let's have a chat and see if people would be interested in seeing more of it, because we can just sit and build more on stream, but it will be kind of a slower learning process. It'd be you kind of learning along with us. If you want to do that, that's fine, but it might be, I think I prefer to do it where kind of go away, build something that's more complete, and come back and have to do a little less debugging kind of live, so you can get a better chance of it, or just do a significantly longer stream where we say, okay, we're going to set this up and maybe do it on another day, just work through all the bugs together, and you can see the whole process of learn along with us.
That would be good. So I mean, So the next part would be about Nomad, but I can still share it, but because I haven't used Nomad so far, this doesn't really tell me much.
No.
So,
do you know anything about Nomad?
Nomad 1.6 adds more. I mean, that would be so. Currently, I'm trying to get more knowledge on console, and yeah. So Nomad, I haven't got around to Nomad yet, but in terms of like features,
So you're going to try and collect all of the certs.
I think that's James's what do you call it? That's James's goal. He's almost there.
You don't want to stomp on his parade and get them beforehand.
Manage multi-channel. Actually, he was talking to me about Nomad recently, as an OS. So having Nomad as an OS, I thought that was a cool idea. I'm not sure if you end up getting it to work or not.
It's an interesting tool. It's kind of what I've seen of it. It looks interesting, but the first glance, it kind of just looked like Hashi's competitor for Kubernetes, but it's slightly different and works in a more interesting way. It's slightly less containerized workloads from my understanding, but it's all very like superficial knowledge at the moment. I haven't really had time to delve in, but I'm guessing if it's adding more node pools, you have like a bigger variety of where you can deploy your workloads onto, which would be nice, just making things more versatile, which is always good.
Yeah.
You need support. You're going to try and get live Hashi feedback on how to run a stream on their products.
No, we're good over here. But yeah. All right. So, what'd you say?
Is this their new? I don't think I've ever gone through their help center before. I've always just delved straight into their docs. I know they're constantly like renewing or they're updating all the how their docs look. So maybe it's just been a little while since I've gone in through looking at the front page.
So yeah. Hopefully next time there's a nomad. By the time there's another nomad update, I know a bit more, so I can talk about it. So right now, all of this I've only seen it through James's screen, so yeah, doesn't tell me much.
I think my next thing will probably be branching out slightly from Hashi products and like delve deeper into the world of Kubernetes and just get lost in there somewhere.
Oh, nice. Is that due to your project or what? Awesome.
If I was getting more down into my project, I'd be buying a load of little servers and plugging them in and trying to set everything up from like bare metal. No, it's more like a personal thing. Like I think Kubernetes is kind of like a cool tech, like, and it's still fairly like in demand. So it's something like useful to know. I do get a fair amount of questions at it from work, and I think it's not something that I need to know because it's meant to be like the customers and the Kubernetes team that knows that knowledge. But if I just know it to hand, it makes my life easier because they can come to me with a question. I can go, that's the Kubernetes problem. Just hand them straight off before having to like go and go, well, maybe it's not, maybe it isn't, and trying to understand the weird way they've written some Kubernetes YAMLs.
Um, just just give me a second.
I think baby needs to be fed, so imagine Marlo will be back in a second. Let me just go and peek ahead and see what we're talking up next. We have a little list of things that we regularly get pinged. So a little blue box scanning.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
What was the surprise that popped up?
Nah, he was just screaming. I just had to go give him some more.
Have you not yet trained him to sleep during your podcast?
Nah, it's not good. And also it's still light as well, so yeah. Right. So where was that? Oh yeah, sorry. I need to share this one. Oh wow. Funny enough, I just said share this screen and then the page just changed. That's not what I was there before. Alright, this is what's there.
Continuous validation.
Use cases for AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure. Since you're an Azure guy, Azure part.
I haven't touched Azure in over a year now. I'm sure I'd come back to it, but I think I might delve into AWS next and use that to pick up some cloud stuff.
Don't you touch cloud at all in your current project?
Very lightly. It's a few like IAM roles. Once occasionally pops up and setting up like connections to authenticate rather than provisioning infrastructure and architecting. Like I kind of know the building blocks of the cloud, the various cloud like bits, but I couldn't tell you exactly what they were called and how to provision them. It would take me a little while to kind of swat off on that knowledge and get it back.
Fair enough. I mean, that's enough, I guess.
On your new exciting project, you get to play. Are you playing with cloud or is it on-prem?
I don't know yet. Today was the first day. We're still busy doing onboarding, and yeah. Well, apparently we're supposed to be migrating something from on-prem to cloud. I don't know what cloud it will be, and I just know that it's their well, firewall. It's the firewall. So, for the details of it, I need to look at how everything's structured for me to even have an idea of what we're going to be doing. So that'll be interesting. Anyways, all right. So AWS ensures your AWS account is within budget. So this is within Terraform. You can do that now. Okay. So you can do this.
It's an interesting one because you had this in cloud, like cloud and enterprise before you have the cost estimation. And I'm fairly sure that you could have enforced through Sentinel policies a limit on the like cost.
Yeah, that's
So
what this is similar to the Sentinel. Yeah, like
yeah,
condition and then error. But it's just everything is not done in here. I feel like it was it you or James that would say if you have to be doing this kind of stuff, then you might as well move to CDK. So,
a little bit. I think that is still just about like borderline. And I imagine this has cropped up from requests from big organizations, like big customers, and go, we want to see more, we want to be able to have more control over our costs. And kind of Hashi would have gone around and say, like, oh, you can do it through Sentinel. And they go, we don't want to learn Sentinel, we want it just baked into Terraform. But the intriguing thing here would be I'd be intrigued to see how it works with resources that aren't necessarily like fixed cost. So you provision like a node pool, or you provision something that's based on like compute usage, like databases. Like you have a limit to what the cost can be because you can set a limit on the size. But if you provision a database and say it's only been used at 10% of your maximum size, your cost is going to be roughly 10% of the max cost. I can't remember if they scale linearly or not. I think they do. Yeah, so it'd be intriguing to see if it takes that into account and actually monitors like your usage of resources that are charged per use rather than just charged based on reservation.
that part is interesting because I'm thinking of like we already have that cost estimation through the enterprise, I mean, or business license, right?
Yeah.
And in between the plan and apply, no, was it before the plan or
I
after?
think it comes out as the plan goes through, and then after the plan, you get a cost estimation if you've enabled it. It's not enabled by default.
Exactly, but in there, it's also doing that estimation for those resources that aren't fixed as well. So I'm guessing it's going to be similar there. I mean, similar functionality in terms of like whatever that one is doing, this one is doing as well.
Yeah, because you kind of have to take like an average and take it at that for those things, especially with the cost estimation as it is before, because you have no way to tell the usage because it is purely saying, oh, I'm going to create these resources and like this is how much it would roughly cost. Whereas this, if it's continuous monitoring, you'd be able to get a better idea of how much it costs.
Yeah.
I guess you could potentially put a cap in as few. If you could read the budget data straight from the cloud providers and say, because they forecast your costs based on current usage as well. So you could potentially pull that as a data source. And if the projected, like if you add the new resources, the Terraform calculates the additional cost per hour or per minute or whatever it is. If that looks like it's going to push you over your budget for the month, it could then curtail those resources from being set up.
Yeah, that's possible. This part now where it's you. This is now GCP. So this one is checking for if the VM is up or not. I'm thinking if you were to go for a big VM and you're installing stuff in it, wouldn't that add to your running as in like the apply time? Because obviously, will this wait
This
or
feels more like it's starting to compete with
yeah,
sort of configuration as code.
yeah,
So kind of trying to get into like Ansible territory and stuff like that. Where it wouldn't surprise me if in the future Hashi releases kind of direct competitor to Ansible or adds that functionality into Terraform where you have idempotent configuration. And these are the first steps where this would be useful if you were doing a self-managed Kubernetes setup. You'd have a load of node pools and you can manage Kubernetes through Terraform, the deployments. So you could check the status of your VMs as part of your Kubernetes deployments, so that if the VMs weren't there, it would go, actually, I'm not going to deploy the Kubernetes infrastructure because Kubernetes containers, because the Kubernetes infrastructure isn't there at the moment beneath it. Because, yeah, it'd be useful for health checks as well. But I think bits of, actually, I'm not entirely sure. I'd be interested to see the current interaction of Terraform with resources. So if it's provisioned and you've turned it off manually, I don't know if it will turn it back on at the moment.
So, but are you talking about this functionality because it says just check, or are you talking about Kubernetes?
About the sort of without the check, do you know if, say, if you provisioned an EC2 instance in AWS and then you clicked stop through the console and you ran your Terraform again, would it restart the instance by default, or would it just leave it? So it's still provisioned.
It won't start it because it will tell you that in the plan it will just tell you that it needs to. Oh yeah, no, actually no, that's the state. That's this. Oh wow, that's different. Because Terraform actually only cares that the VM is there.
Yeah.
But if this code says "Are you running?" then yeah, it won't start it because look, it just tells you that it's not running.
Yeah, it's an interesting block.
I think this one is at creation though, because it's part of the block of creation. Look, oh, am I wrong here? It looks like
there's the check afterwards.
Yeah.
It's up and running, because all it cares about before is it's created. So it doesn't matter if it crashes instantly, as long as it still exists.
Yeah, I think this is more for at creation stage rather than if after it's created and this passes the first time and then the next time you just run Terraform, it would not be like, oh, check fail. I'm not
this
sure.
will like tie nicely into the drift prevention stuff that they're bringing out as well. So if you're running drift prevention regularly to check to see if your infrastructure is drifted, you can also build these checks in, and you would then see, one, if your infrastructure is drifted, and two, if it's not running, which is a nice to have. So it's adding kind of more like the visibility to the monitoring side of things. It's going to come up with this as well. So it's something that's nice to have. It feels like it's a little bit of the puzzle towards a bigger piece of work that they'll roll out eventually.
Yeah.
But there's kind of adding little bits of functionality that are kind of useful now, but will be more useful in future when there's more that sits on top of it.
I just feel like the way they're expanding Terraform functionality at some point it will just get because initially it was very simple. Now you can do so much with it. Now it's crazy.
I guess that's why the CDK and stuff is becoming more valuable, because you're getting more things you can do with it. So it's becoming more complex. Whereas young baby Terraform, there wasn't really that much you could do with it. So it was very.
And below. Yeah. And then this part now, I think this is the Google example. Yes, the Google.
Check do the TLS.
Yeah. Wow, see, this is good then. So that means you don't need to have a thingy set up. You won't need to have alerting set up because Terraform will do it for you. If this can tie with drift prevention, then that would be perfect.
It seems like it's stepping on Vault's toes a little bit there, because you can auto-rotate certificates with Vault.
Say again?
It's stepping on Vault's toes a little bit, because you can auto-rotate certificates with Vault. So instead of have Terraform do it, if you have Vault as your certificate authority, it will push you on. And there's other technologies like Venafi. You can auto-rotate certificates and stuff like that. It'll push new versions out, so you don't have to check. It's just done automatically. But having certificates checked through this will be useful again. It's kind of, if you set up a new greenfield project, you probably would never need to use this, because there are much better ways to manage certificates. But I can see this being useful in legacy sites where they have a load of stuff that's not really modernized, and just building something like that quickly that checks your certificates while you're deploying or running your drift protection will be helpful.
Yeah.
TLS certificates are the bane of my existence at the moment. I've been trying to install some new ones for a month now.
And what's stopping you?
Middle management.
Oh, yeah. So I just use the command part that you stuck on.
I've had the new certificates for a month as
Wow.
well. I just can't get access to the servers because they've been embargoed.
Fair enough. So this seems like Lambda to me. Validate the status of a cloud function. That must be Lambda.
I wonder if it will fire it.
You wonder what?
I wonder if it will fire the Lambda or functions equivalent to the.
Depends on the check, right? Let's see what it's checking for. So check the state if it's active. Interesting. Message provision cloud function should be in active state instead of function as. Wait, you can have different states. Oh, to deactivate, maybe they can deactivate the cloud functions.
Yeah, I feel like that's quite a GCP specific thing.
Yeah.
Don't you have a GCP set somewhere along the line?
Years ago. Yeah.
I feel like that's a GCP. Like you probably need a little bit more knowledge of GCP, but that makes sense. I guess you can build a load of functions and not have them kind of up and running, and then just turn them on when you need them. So that's nice to check if the functions that you expect to be on are on. It's all just it seems like a big push for visibility, which is always nice to have more visibility.
I'm just checking real quick because I don't remember. This is the thing when you do the set file and then you don't get to work with it, the knowledge just starts fading.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I had all my Azure creds, but I don't think it'd be particularly fast in Azure now. Not any far, maybe a little bit faster than the other cloud providers. You need to keep everything fresh.
Would be nice.
Talking of Azure, next block looks to be the same. Didn't we have that for AWS? So that the VM is in a running state. This must be almost the same as.
Yeah, so this is for Azure.
Yeah, that's just the Azure version of the EC2 box.
If a container app certificate will expire, this is another certificate one as well within a time frame.
I guess there's a limited amount of stuff that you can do as kind of bog standard monitoring with this. It's like certificate expiry dates, running state, and provision. Like if something's in an active state, because beyond that you need to custom write.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe you can do more with it if you can think of something more. But I'm guessing they're just giving us this as starting block. If as an introduction, basically, you could do this.
Yeah, scroll down to one of the continuous validation blocks, because they might just be that you could write custom code in there if you wanted to. And this is kind of giving you any of them. I just want to see the syntax.
Oh, actually, if you want to see syntax, this is better actually. Okay. So let's just check out the actual check syntax, right? So, is it by itself actually?
Check. No, that's wrapping to the end there. So it's giving you a data source, and then you are asserting certain things from it. So you can, I guess, essentially any API that you can hit, you can read the response and check that it is the response that you expect it to be.
Yes, but I built this check block will be under the, like, let's say, resource block or something like that. I didn't realize that it would be on its own. I think they call this stanza, right? So this stanza was
I guess you could always put a depends on block if you really cared
kind of,
about the order.
so this going into like testing. So does that mean if you have this kind of stuff, you don't need to write tests? Maybe.
Um, it's maybe it's one of those things that it could be useful. I guess if you were building a module, it might be nice just to have it that it checks up the state of something after it's provisioned, so you can be sure. But the kind of at the point that the infrastructure's freshly made, there isn't always that much to check or useful things to check. You just kind of want to know if it's running because you haven't really configured anything on it yet. So you're better to probably do it after you've run like your configuration and code, and then run those kind of health checks at that point. And at which point you probably move to another software, whether that be Ansible or Puppet or something like that, and you'll use those to do your health checks rather than doing in Terraform would be my thought, unless you're using the kind of provisioner blocks to execute code for your config on your resources that you provisioned.
Yeah. Do you see yourself using this check on your current project?
It might actually be useful for me because the Terraform code is quite complicated, so it would probably be good to see if things are set up. But I think the better solution would be to rewrite the Terraform code into a way that made it less of a kind of hassle to see what was going on, so there was less uncertainty, to have better error handling in the code itself, rather than having this kind of, I hope it works, and then I have some checks to tell me whether it works.
Yeah.
Would you use it?
I mean, I have only been lucky so far to work with Terraform 11. So my new project, I'm interested to see what Terraform version they're on. If they're on anything past 12, I'll be happy. Then I'll find a reason to use it. Otherwise, well, it's just another thing I know of.
I love how you say 12 and my brain goes, oh, that sounds like a long way at you, because I'm on like 1 point something. I don't know what the latest release is.
I just keep saying that. I think we're on 1.6 or 4.
Is it? I have.
Yeah,
whenever I type in RE, I just get the releases.
Yeah, 1.5 is the latest.
Yeah, 1.5.2. You're still a little way off of being caught up to the point where you can't say 11 or 12 without having to clarify 1 dot or 0 dot.
Yeah. It's just because I'm so used to calling it 11 or whatever it is. So.
Did they do a major rework in 12, or was it 14 that they kind of updated a load of stuff?
You mean where things changed? It was from 11, from 0 to 11, 0.11, and then from 0.12. So the transition from between 11 and 12 is where the major change happened. So if you're on 11, you miss out on all these cool features. Sorry, if you're on 0.11, you miss out on all these cool features. But if you're on anything higher than that,
I would be intrigued to know how many people still haven't made major release.
It's not their fault because they have imagine, so like the project I was on, they had like a lot of repositories that are just on 11, and then they have dependencies as well. They have other teams that depend on that code. So doing all that, migrating all of that over, is just, and then they had to also might actually separate some of this stuff as well. So it's not like, oh, because at the beginning they kept everything together, which meant every run could take like 30-40 minutes, right? So they were actually in the process of just separating things first and then thinking about upgrading to the latest Terraform. So it's not, I mean, I feel like it's not team's fault, really. It's just, I don't know.
No, I would never say it's a team's fault. I'd say it's more of an organization's fault. It's a question of commitment to get the resources and time to migrate, because it's always a lot of effort migrating sort of when you have these big code bases, because there's often production systems that are running off these code bases, so you can't just go, oh, tear it all down and start it up again, because it's just not going to fly. If you crash like a major bank's application, they're not going to be happy with you. You'll be very quickly out of a job.
Yeah, even the migration stuff that's supposedly not impacted is still like worrisome for some people, because like, what could go wrong? I'm just moving the backend. That's not actually impacting the resource itself. But, another cool feature I found out recently that I really want to check out and use, hopefully sometimes, would be variable validation. That'll be good to use at some point.
At that point, I'm going to say you should probably be in the CDK.
I knew it. I knew it. It's you. The thing is, I don't know. I mean, it's not that deep. It's not a lot of code as well. It's just one line. See, it's just one line. You don't need CDK for that. CDK requires you to a lot setup and all that. Learn it, CDK.
Yes, I was saying, if you're kind of getting to the point where you're validating what users are inputting, you're probably wanting to do something with that input that's slightly more unique, unless you're just using that to enforce naming conventions.
Yeah.
But you're kind of getting to the point where you should, even then, you're kind of reaching the tipping point where if you're enforcing rules in the code, you should probably move from HCL to CDK, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's your opinion. Someone like me, I think for now, that's still fine. I think the only reason I'll move on to CDK is like like the kind of project you're working on. So I think for that it makes sense. But this is still fine. For normal
After playing around with it for a week, I would definitely be prepared to move a lot earlier than I was before. Well, like, it's not too bad. It's a little bit of a faff with the documentation, but it's not that much more complicated. But then on the flip side, that I never actually built a full CI/CD pipeline around it, so I don't know if that side is a pain to integrate. But then the backend just runs by default in cloud. So if you have cloud or enterprise set up, it would be easy. If you're doing it through like on-prem, like your own solution, not through open source, it's like whether that's Jenkins or like GitLab or something like that, it might be a bit trickier to do. But maybe that's something to look in for another time.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. When is it going to be a validation in Terraform Cloud? What is that? So is like that means when they say continuous, it means that it will constantly check even without you running it.
I would have thought it'd be regular intervals. So I don't know, and you'd probably be able to condition the interval, because you can't have continuous. But if you have true continuous, you'll generate an infinite number of requests, which will then crash whatever you're trying to monitor. You don't really want to DDoS yourself. So I would have thought it'd be like hourly. I think they were talking about it on Hashi Days. They were bringing it down. So it used to be, I think, daily was the continuous validation. So you'd have a scan once a day, and I think they've got it down to hourly now for your scanning, for your validation stuff, which is hourly. I think is probably enough for that kind of thing.
Yeah, makes sense. And you can also do conditions check only during apply. Who checks the condition during the planning phase or none after apply. Oh, this makes sense. So that things that you only find after. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I guess this brings us to the end of all the updates we had prepared. prepared.
Our Luciform stream has run its course. We've reached the top of an hour at a nice sort of round point, so it's probably not worth delving into another subject.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll catch everyone next week and hopefully be back to the full trio of people compared to just the two that you've had for the last couple of weeks, whereas people have been kind of, well, people, I say me.
Yeah.
James is away this week. I enjoyed my holiday, my nice quiet cottage in the seaside with very little technology.
I see.
I had an oven that has no temperature control, which is great and is always on.
Nice. On the electricity?
No, oil fired. Argas, if you're interested. They're quite a British thing. Essentially a giant block of metal that is always hot.
That's good. It keeps the house warm as well.
Oh, it really does. When you come in from the cold, like, sea, being able to like lean against it's lovely. But yeah, I digress. We will catch you all next week. Thank you for watching.
Right.
Follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, hit that bell button, all of the things. And we'll catch you in the next one.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.